Hey guys, what's happening? It's Richard here. Welcome to a pretty interesting episode of comics. I think that's a good word to describe it. Actually, to be honest, I didn't really feel like doing an episode this weekend, to be honest with you. I hate feeling like I don't want to do an episode, or, like if there's no material out there, I don't really have a purpose to do an episode. And this past week particularly didn't really have much worth talking about. Some things happened, but nothing totally mind-blowing. I think the best thing I would probably talk about this week is some of the great comics that came out last week. However, I just read some pretty interesting articles about an actual, pretty big news type story. That was kind of a big motivator to get me in front of this camera to talk to you guys right now. However, before we get to that, obviously I have some comics I want to review. And the first comic I'm going to review for you guys is on the indie comics side of things. Indie Comics! So for the indie comics side of things, I'm going to be reviewing for you guys a brand new series, and it's called The Black Beetle. The Black Beetle is a brand new comic series from Dark Horse Comics, and it's a series that pays tribute to the pulp era of comics, like the Shadow or the Spider, characters like that. And this is the first story arc. It's called No Way Out. It's part 1 of 4. And in this particular arc, the Black Beetle's after these two big crime bosses in his home city of Colt City. However, there's a new type of hero roaming around out there, and he's hitting all these big crime meets before Black Beetle does, and so he's like, what the heck's going on? Now, for those of you that don't know who Francesco Francavilla is, first of all, he's one of the most amazing artists in the industry, so all of you should know him. But if you don't really know him, some works of his are like Batman, The Black Mirror. He did a lot of issues of that. He was one of the primary artists. Also, he's known for doing a lot of cover work. He's done a lot of cover work specifically for Dynamite Comics. And so knowing that Francavilla is an amazing artist, this was a no-brainer to pick up this book as far as art goes. And you know what's awesome? The guy's a pretty darn good writer. And, he knows the pulp world really well, like the dialogue, the character beats, everything about this issue is very pulpy, and it's awesome. So for me, at the end of the day, Black Beetle gets a very strong recommendation with a very strong 5 out of 5. Also, they have in issue 0 of Black Beetle. That's a reprint of a Black Beetle story that was told in Dark Horse Presents. So if you want to go check that out, if you didn't get to read it the first time around, it's out on sale now. Next up, we're going to review a comic on the DC Comics side of things. DC Comics, yeah! What? Something or other, I don't know. So in the DC Comics side of things, I'm going to be reviewing for you guys one of the most twisted issues I've ever read from a DC comic. Batman number 16 by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. Death of the Family. So we're about neck deep in this big Death of the Family story arc that's being headlined in this particular Batman series. And boy, what a dang good story it is. This particular issue is the most twisted, most insane, most dark, most amazing issue from the Death of the Family storyline yet. By the way, when I say sick and twisted, I really mean sick and twisted. I've gasped 18 times when I've read this issue. And what makes it even weirder is that Scott Snyder is one of the nicest people in the world, yet he writes some of the most demented, twisted things I've seen in comics lately. Scott, if you're watching, I love you, but I don't want to ever live in your imagination. You're awesome, dude. But in just reviewing the comic, the writing, as usual, is awesome. The story that Scott Snyder's telling is just really great. It does feel like it is going to be an ultimate Joker story for the ages. And the art, as usual, by Greg Capullo is just it's beautiful. Oh my god, I love it. And this is stuff you usually hear me say, so you're hearing a broken record, because this series has yet to lose interest from me. So, as usual, Batman for me gets a 5 out of 5. I love this series! And now it's time for the greatest segment on the show! Comics Comments. So this week for Comics Comments, we're going to be talking about our favorite Daily Planet photographer, Mr. Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen, he's an incredibly important character to the Superman story, and one of the biggest questions us comic book fans had was whether or not he would be in the new Superman movie coming out, Man of Steel. Well, it turns out Jimmy Olsen is going to be in the movie, but maybe not the way you think. So it's just been brought to my attention that via comicbookmovie.com and even IGN reports about this, an actress by the name of Rebecca Bueller, I believe, is going to be playing a character in the Man of Steel, according to IMDb, named Jenny Olsen. If you remember in the Man of Steel trailer, the amazing trailer for the Man of Steel, the most recent one, there's a scene towards the end when you see Perry White, played by Lawrence Fishburne. Him and a woman are running away from this massive destruction bit, and the woman, who looks a lot like the actress in question, is also swinging like a camera, it looks like, around her neck. And so it looks like Jimmy Olsen is, in fact, Jenny Olsen. Now, there's already been a change in this film already as far as like physical appearance, and that one being Lawrence Fishburne playing Perry White, who in the comics is usually a white guy. And you know what? I had no problem with that. I still don't have a problem with that. Lawrence Fishburne is an amazing actor, and I think he does look a lot like a Perry White-esque character, and I think he'll pull it off. And in a similar situation, I have no problem. In fact, I'm actually really interested in seeing a female version of the Jimmy Olsen character. And you know, making a gender change like this in a film adaptation brings up a lot of questions. And one of the biggest topics in comics is the way that writers treat females, and like the claim that a lot of writers and a lot of companies are a little misogynistic when it comes to the way they portray females, which is true, unfortunately. And changing a gender like that, again, it brings up a lot of interesting questions. And so for this week's Comics Comments, I want to know, what do you guys think of this gender change, if it's in fact true? And it looks like it is. But anyways, that's about it for this guy. Don't forget to like this video, follow Carter and I on Facebook, Twitter, and directorscutradio.com. Links are all down below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, favorite the video if you want to, and I'll see you guys next time with a brand new video. Bye bye bye!